You know, it's funny. We kind of just brush off sleep talking.
Yeah.
Like it's just this weird, quirky thing. It's
Yeah.
almost a comedic trope. But have you ever actually stopped and thought, like, what is going on in the brain during those late night monologues?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, get ready to dive in because today we're tackling a pretty intriguing connection, and that is the link between sleep talking and autism.
Okay.
And trust me, it's a lot more fascinating than just a few mumbled words in the dark.
Hmm.
You actually came to us with this blog post from
Yes.
Cheap ABA.
An organization dedicated to making quality autism care accessible.
Yeah, and it really piqued our interest.
Yeah.
Now, this particular post, it focuses on children,
Oh,
but I think as we kind of unpack these insights, I think we'll find that there's a lot of relevance for adults too.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
So, first things first, let's define what we're even dealing with here.
Yeah, good idea.
Sleep talking,
Mm-hmm.
or as they say in the science world, somniloquy.
Somniloquy, right.
It's way more common than you might think.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, we're talking mumbling gibberish,
Yeah.
full-blown conversations,
Mhm.
even emotional outbursts.
Yeah.
Laughter, tears, you name it. And this blog post, I mean, it paints a pretty vivid picture.
It does, yeah. It's pretty interesting.
But I think what's important to note here is that for most people, it's harmless.
You are right. Yeah, it's important to distinguish sort of the benign sleep talking from other sleep disorders that actually might need a doctor's attention.
Right.
So, things like sleepwalking, night terrors, those fall into the category of parasomnias, and, those can be more serious.
Okay, so we're not talking about sleepwalking pizza orders here.
No, not exactly, no.
Good to know, good to know.
Hmm.
But this blog post, it highlights some pretty striking statistics
Yeah.
about autism and sleep in general. Did you know that 40 to 80% of autistic children, they experience some kind of sleep issue,
Wow, that's a lot.
with a significant portion of those dealing with sleep talking?
And, and that's significant because those sleep disturbances, they can have like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
It impacts behavior, increases anxiety. It can even affect cognitive function
Oh.
for those with autism.
So it's almost like, because if you think about it, when you don't get a good night's sleep,
Yeah,
it's like everything else just feels harder.
absolutely.
Totally.
So why is there this link? Why autism and sleep talking?
Right.
The blog post kind of digs into a few different factors.
It does.
But I'm curious to hear your take. Like, what really stands out to you?
Well, I think what's so fascinating is how interconnected these factors are.
Okay.
We're talking sensory processing, sleep patterns,
Yeah.
emotional well-being. It's not just one thing. It's this really complex interplay of different factors.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So the article mentions sleep disorders and like other co-occurring conditions.
Yeah.
And it seems like kids with autism are already prone to things like insomnia,
Right.
restless leg syndrome.
And then if you add something like ADHD on top of that,
Right.
the chances of sleep talking, they go up even more.
Well, it makes sense if you think about it because ADHD can really affect sleep.
Yeah.
The difficulty regulating attention, activity levels that can easily disrupt sleep patterns and lead to those late night monologues.
Right. And then you've got the sensory processing piece of it too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we know that a lot of people with autism, they have sensitivities to certain textures, sounds, or lights.
Yeah.
And the article suggests that that can really mess with sleep.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine, a child with autism who finds like the feel of regular sheets unbearable.
Oh.
It makes it so difficult to settle down, to feel comfortable enough to fall asleep. And I think that sensory overload can definitely contribute to those sleep talking episodes.
It's like their senses are on high alert even when they're trying to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. And, this can disrupt those natural sleep-wake cycles, those circadian rhythms that tell our bodies when it's time to wind down.
Right. And those rhythms are so important. It's like our internal clock.
Yeah.
And it can be thrown off by so many things.
And for individuals with autism, those irregular sleep patterns can be even more pronounced.
Really?
Think about it. Their sensory systems are working overtime.
What?
It's harder to filter out distractions.
Right.
And this can even disrupt the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle.
So it's not just the sensory input itself, it's how their brains process and respond to it.
Exactly.
That can throw off their entire sleep cycle.
Exactly. And this brings us to another, I think, really crucial factor, and that's emotional well-being.
Okay.
The blog post really emphasizes that anxiety, stress, these are incredibly common for those with autism.
Right.
And this can also contribute to sleep talking.
Well, it makes sense, though. I mean, because think about it. When we're stressed, when we're anxious, I mean, our sleep is often the first thing to suffer,
Absolutely.
whether we're on the autism spectrum or not, you know.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. And, for those with autism, that heightened anxiety, it can stem from so many different sources.
Right.
Imagine, like, feeling constantly bombarded by sensory input,
Right.
struggling to navigate social situations,
Yeah.
dealing with the challenges of a world that's not always designed with their needs in mind.
It's like their stress response system is just on overdrive,
Exactly.
making it that much harder to relax and just fall into a peaceful sleep.
Exactly. And that's where that vicious cycle comes in.
Yeah.
Lack of sleep, it can exacerbate anxiety, which can further disrupt sleep, which can lead to more sleep talking.
Right.
And it just, this whole cascade of challenges.
It's like this tangled web,
Yeah,
each thread connected to the next.
totally.
So we've been really focusing on children here,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing these same factors come into play for adults with autism too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, while this blog post focuses specifically on children, these factors don't just magically disappear in adulthood. Sensory sensitivities, irregular sleep patterns, emotional stress, these are all things that can persist and affect sleep quality throughout life.
It's like this deep dive has given us a new lens
Yeah,
through which to view sleep talking.
I like that.
Because it's not just this funny quirk, right?
Right.
It's like this window into how autism can affect sleep overall.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's not just about like silencing the sleep talker.
Right.
It's about understanding this bigger picture.
Mhm.
And how can we support better sleep for those with autism?
Precisely. And I think that's where the practical advice in this blog post is really helpful.
Okay.
It's about creating an environment and routines that really promote restful sleep,
Okay.
whether we're talking about a child or an adult with autism.
Okay. So walk us through it. What are some of the key takeaways, like for managing sleep talking?
Well, I think it all starts with creating like a sensory-friendly sleep sanctuary.
Okay.
Imagine a room with blackout curtains
Okay.
to minimize any light disruptions,
Right.
a white noise machine to kind of drown out any distracting sounds,
Okay.
maybe even a weighted blanket to provide a sense of security and comfort.
So it's about really minimizing those sensory triggers that we talked about,
Exactly.
creating a space where their senses can finally take a break.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have the power of routines.
Yes.
We all know how important a consistent bedtime routine is.
Right.
But for individuals with autism who thrive on predictability,
Yeah.
it can be even more crucial.
So we're talking about a set bedtime, even on weekends.
Exactly. That consistency really helps set their internal clock.
Right.
And, think about incorporating calming activities into that routine.
Okay.
A warm bath,
Okay.
a few minutes of quiet reading, some light stretching, anything that signals to the body and mind that it's time to wind down.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's not just about the sleep itself. It's about creating that calming transition
exactly.
into sleep.
Right.
Now, what about those nights where, sleep talking does happen? Are there tools that people can use to, like, I don't know, better understand those episodes?
Yeah, the blog post suggests keeping a sleep diary,
Oh, interesting.
and it's actually a really powerful tool. It's
Okay.
like detective work for better sleep.
I like that.
So, you track sleep talking episodes,
Okay.
and you might start to notice patterns. Maybe it happens more on nights when there's been a lot of background noise,
Interesting.
or after a particularly stimulating day.
So it empowers you to make changes
Exactly.
based on real data,
Yes.
not just guesswork.
Exactly. And then, of course, if you've tried these strategies and you're still struggling,
Yeah.
don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional.
Right. Because everyone deserves a good night's sleep,
Absolutely.
even if it comes with the side of subconscious chatter.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But it's about addressing those underlying issues,
Yes,
not just the symptoms.
absolutely. Finding the right approach for each individual's needs is key. It's amazing how much we can learn from something like sleep talking.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you think about it, it
Yeah.
seems so simple on the surface.
Right.
But it's like this little window
Yeah.
into these complexities of the brain.
Totally.
And especially, in this case, when we're talking about autism.
It makes you wonder,
Right.
like, what's going on in the brain during those sleep talking episodes?
Yeah.
Are people with autism, are they processing information differently, even in their sleep?
That is a fascinating question. And this might be getting a little too deep dive here. I don't know. But, do we have any clues
Right.
about what's happening on that neurological level?
Well, research in this area is ongoing,
Right.
but there are some I think, really intriguing findings.
Okay.
So, we know that sleep is crucial for memory consolidation and learning.
Right.
And some studies are actually suggesting that brain activity during sleep might differ in individuals with autism. So in other words, while we're all, catching those Z's,
Yeah.
our brains are busy,
Right.
making sense of the day.
Uh-huh.
But that process might look different for someone with autism.
Exactly. Yeah.
What kind of differences are we talking about here?
Well, for example, some studies have shown that people with autism might spend less time in certain stages of sleep,
Okay.
like deep sleep,
Okay.
which is essential for memory processing.
Wow.
So it's almost like their brains are wired a bit differently,
Okay.
which can impact everything from sleep talking to how they learn and retain information.
So that makes you wonder if, because we've been talking about these sleep talking episodes,
No.
if those episodes are kind of giving us this glimpse into how the autistic brain processes information,
Yeah.
even unconsciously,
Right.
are they working through experiences from the day,
Yeah.
trying to make sense of things just in a different way?
It's a fascinating area of research, and one that I think could have profound implications for understanding autism and developing more effective interventions. Imagine if we could decode those sleep talking episodes, glean these insights into the unique ways their brains process the world.
It's like having this front row seat to like a whole different way
Exactly.
of thinking and experiencing the world.
Totally.
This deep dive, I have to say, it's definitely given me a whole new perspective
Yeah.
on sleep talking and this connection to autism. And I think the big takeaway here is that it's not just about hushing the sleep talker.
Right.
It's about understanding the bigger picture of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
sensory processing, emotional well-being.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about recognizing the challenges, exploring the potential reasons behind those late night monologues, and most importantly, I think, supporting better sleep for those with autism.
And, at the end of the day, if anyone out there listening is concerned about their own sleep or the sleep of a loved one, don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional.
Exactly, yeah.
Get some guidance, get some support.
Yeah, there's no shame in it at all.
No, because everyone deserves a good night's sleep,
They do.
even if it comes with a little side of subconscious chatter.
That's right, little sleep talking never hurt anybody.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
Yes, it has.
I can't wait to see what fascinating topic we tackle next.
Me neither. It's always an adventure.
Until then, keep those questions coming.
Yeah, keep them coming.
And keep exploring the world with curiosity and an open mind.
That's what it's all about.